Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, whatever time it is in your zone. My name is Margaret Mwarili, a religious of the Sacred Heart and representative of the Society to the United Nations. I am honored to moderate this session today, January 22nd, the International Day of Education, an event that is organized every year by the UN NGO Office for the Family of the Sacred Heart. This year, the theme of our event is envisioning an education that prepares young people for successful navigation of their changing world. Key issues including educational challenges, critical changes and empowerment needed, navigating success, meaningful participation of young people in the social contract on education, among others, will be discussed. It is an honor to have 5 speakers for today's session. Jose Marie Ayemeric Sola from Sagrado Corazon, Pamplona School in Spain. Just show your hand or show yourself for people to see you. Our second panelist is Adit Paul, a teacher from Sacred Heart Sophia Junior College, Mumbai, India. The third panelist is Maki Saito from Japan, an alumni of Sacred Heart International School and Sacred Heart University of Tokyo in Japan, living and working in the United States. The fourth is Rose Farah, an alumni of Sacred Heart School at 91st Street, New York, working in Dubai. And our fifth panelist is Maria Casares, an alumni of Sacred Heart Mexico City School and presently studying international relations in Universidad Iberoamericana in Mexico. I'm also pleased to introduce other team members that will play important roles in our discussion today. Noreen Hinan from Ireland, a network coordinator of Sacred Heart schools in Ireland, Scotland, and Malta, will give us a synthesis of our discussion today. Noreen also works with the European Core team to organize activities for the network members. Florence de Lavillon, a religious of the Sacred Heart from France, is our IT person for this webinar and is hosting us from Rome. Rachel Quillian, a religious of the Sacred Heart from France, living in Rome, working with the Jesuit Refugee Service, and also on our international team for justice, peace, and integrity of creation, will lead us in a short opening prayer and moderate the question and answer session. Anna Plasquez Ubach, an international translator, is leading a team that is translating our discussion this morning. At this point, I would like to suggest that if you have any question in the course of the discussion, please write it in the question and answer section, and the panelists will attend to them. And I request the panelists, if so willing, to share their emails in the chat so that in case any participant want to follow up on your discussion, can do so. And now I invite Rachel, please lead us in opening prayer.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. You will have a short video presenting mostly photos from the UNESCO campaign for the International Day of Education and a song that is in 3 languages. But if it's more helpful for you to close your eyes and just close your eyes, because the purpose is to put us in the presence of God within us and to let outside our worries in order to open our hearts to listen our panelists.
A ser un solo cuerpo, embarcadas hacia la comunión, renacer de lo profundo del silencio a la escucha del latido de la vida en la creación. Appeler à vivre des vies plus humaines, simple c'est béni, offrande de joie, renaissance de cœur. Many life in the mission as one body, Jesus Christ is our journey in trust and open ways, offering who we are and all the gifts we have, creating other pathways of responding all as one. El Espíritu bendice este camino, inspirando nuevas formas de construir nuestra misión, convocando a ser respuesta compartida, artesanas de esperanza, compasión y libertad. Appelés à atteindre des frontières, ouverte à nous risquer plus loin, nous laisser transformer par le monde, assoiffés de justice, l'amour et dignité. Let us care for the trading small sea, weaving webs of solidarity, embracing new green shoots of hope emerging, a deep gaze full of life as we break our bread. Construisons la mission avec d'autres, marchons dans les chemins de Jésus de Nazareth, offrons ce que nous sommes, ce que nous savons, recreando otros caminos de respuesta en comunión. El Espíritu bendice este camino, inspirando nuevas formas de construir nuestra misión, calling us to be a daring force of love, being artisans of freedom, sharing hope, living and life de liberté y libertad.
And may we let us all be guided by the Holy Spirit in those coming encounter.
Amen. Thank you, Rachel, for that appropriate song, a song that tells us education is a sign of hope. It is hope in itself. So thank you for the beautiful prayer. And now we come to the presentations. We are having 4 questions and 5 panelists. Each one will discuss one question, and the last 2 will discuss the same question. Our first panelist is Jose Marie Ayemeric Sola, and he will discuss the first question. Jose Marie is a teacher of humanities, coordinator of service learning projects at Sagrado Corazon, Pamplona School in Spain. He is the coordinator of North-South International Volunteer Program promoted by the Religious of the Sacred Heart in Spain. He belongs to the movement such as Transpirenica Social Solidaria, which promote the social inclusion of vulnerable young people. He is a member of several organizations that promote education and social commitment in Navarre, Spain, and Europe. Jose Marie, what are some of the major challenges faced by education sector over the last 2 decades that require global attention and cooperation with regard to critical issues of preparing young people for navigation of their world? The stage is yours, please.
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Voy a ver si comparto una presentación que va a acompañar las palabras que voy a decir. En primer lugar, quiero agradecer la oportunidad de poder participar en este evento, gracias a la amable invitación de la hermana Margaret Muarilli. Precisamente son ya 2 décadas las que llevo trabajando como educador en un colegio, el Sagrado Corazón, en Pamplona, España, y espero ser capaz de responder a cuáles han sido los retos a los que se enfrenta el mundo educativo, de los que yo mismo he sido testigo en los últimos 20 años. Mi punto de partida es que las personas que nos dedicamos a la educación queremos conseguir, por una parte, que nuestros estudiantes desarrollen al máximo sus capacidades, tal y como defendía hace más de 2000 años el filósofo griego Aristóteles. Y por otra parte, que el proceso de enseñanza-aprendizaje sirva para aprender a vivir fraternalmente con las personas que nos rodean y a cuidar la casa común, que es el planeta Tierra. Para educar a los jóvenes en el siglo XXI hay que tener en cuenta al menos los siguientes retos que nos plantea este mundo en el que vivimos. La tecnología y la educación. La rápida evolución de la tecnología ha cambiado radicalmente la forma en que vivimos y trabajamos dentro y fuera de las escuelas. Pizarras digitales, programación, robótica y múltiples dispositivos portátiles están presentes ya de forma natural en las aulas. La educación, por lo tanto, debe adaptarse para incorporar estas tecnologías de una manera efectiva en el aula y que las habilidades digitales de nuestros estudiantes sean empleadas éticamente y sirvan para construir un mundo mejor. La globalización y diversidad cultural. El mundo de hoy se ha vuelto más interconectado que nunca. Perdón. El hecho de que estemos compartiendo hoy este espacio de diálogo entre personas de continentes diferentes es una muestra de la riqueza de la globalización y del intercambio cultural. Por este motivo, los estudiantes necesitan más que nunca habilidades interculturales y una comprensión global del mundo en el que vivimos para tener éxito. La educación debe abordar esta diversidad cultural y preparar a los estudiantes para trabajar en entornos multiculturales. Los cambios en el mercado laboral. Las demandas del mercado laboral están cambiando rápidamente. Muchos expertos afirman que 3/4 partes de las profesiones del futuro, aquellas en las que trabajarán nuestros actuales estudiantes, ni siquiera existen hoy en día. Los jóvenes necesitan desarrollar la capacidad de adaptación, el pensamiento crítico, saber enfrentarse a problemas complejos y cultivar habilidades interpersonales para enfrentarse a los desafíos laborales que les esperan en el siglo XXI. las desigualdades educativas. Tal y como afirma la UNESCO, la educación es un derecho humano para todas las personas a lo largo de la vida. Además, es la principal herramienta para erradicar la pobreza, construir la paz y un desarrollo sostenible. A nivel mundial, las tasas de alfabetización han crecido en todo el mundo en estas 2 últimas décadas, muy especialmente con la incorporación de millones de niñas a los sistemas educativos. Sin embargo, existen grandes diferencias en el acceso a una educación de calidad, incluso en los países más desarrollados. Es necesario abordar estas desigualdades y garantizar que todos los niños y niñas y jóvenes tengan acceso a una educación de una manera equitativa. El cambio climático y la sostenibilidad. Los objetivos del milenio, primero, y a partir de 2015, los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible, los ODS, han puesto en la agenda mundial la necesidad de tomar medidas para frenar el calentamiento global y lograr un futuro sostenible para todas las personas, sin dejar a nadie atrás. Las escuelas en todo el mundo deben integrar conceptos de sostenibilidad y conciencia ambiental para preparar a los jóvenes para abordar los desafíos relacionados con el cambio climático. La salud mental y el bienestar emocional. Especialmente después de la pandemia de COVID que asoló el mundo, la salud mental se ha convertido en una preocupación importante entre los jóvenes. Diferentes estudios afirman que las generaciones más jóvenes son más vulnerables que las anteriores a las enfermedades mentales. Por lo tanto, la educación debe abordar las cuestiones de salud mental y fomentar un ambiente de aprendizaje que promueva el bienestar emocional y desarrolle habilidades como la empatía, la cooperación y la autorregulación. Estas habilidades son esenciales para el éxito de los jóvenes en sus proyectos de vida y también en sus profesiones. La ciudadanía democrática. Educar en valores democráticos es crucial para formar una ciudadanía comprometida y activa en la sociedad. Así se fomenta la participación ciudadana, el respeto a la diversidad y la comprensión del proceso democrático. También protege los derechos individuales, desarrolla el pensamiento crítico, previene los conflictos y contribuye a la estabilidad política y social, ayudando a construir comunidades más justas y promoviendo la cultura de la paz. La educación debe preparar a los jóvenes para ser miembros informados y comprometidos en sociedades democráticas, construidas sobre la base de la libertad, igualdad y justicia. Y ante estos retos, ¿qué podemos hacer desde la educación? La respuesta no es sencilla, pero puede servirnos de referencia el informe de la Comisión Internacional de la UNESCO sobre los futuros de la educación. Fue publicado en el año 2022 y lleva por título Reimaginar juntos nuestros futuros, un nuevo contrato social para la educación. En este texto se afirma que es necesario un nuevo contrato social para una educación que repare las injusticias, al tiempo que transforma el futuro. Este nuevo pacto se debe basar en los derechos humanos y en los principios de no discriminación, justicia social, respeto a la vida, dignidad humana y diversidad cultural. Debe incluir una ética del cuidado, reciprocidad y solidaridad. Debe reforzar la consideración de que la educación es un proyecto público para el bien común. Para ello son necesarias pedagogías que nos animen a seguir aprendiendo sobre la dignidad humana y el gran logro que representa el derecho a la conciencia y a la libertad de pensamiento, pero que nos lleven a desaprender el excepcionalismo humano y el individualismo posesivo. Deben basarse en la ética y la reciprocidad y el cuidado y reconocer que somos interdependientes entre individuos, grupos y especies. Deberíamos valorar la importancia de todo lo que compartimos. La UNESCO propone en esta publicación que la pedagogía conocida como aprendizaje-servicio, APS, es una herramienta para suavizar los muros entre el aula y la comunidad. El APS promueve proyectos pedagógicos bien articulados, en los que los estudiantes aprenden mientras responden ante problemas o necesidades reales de su entorno con la finalidad de mejorar. Se trata de educar al servicio de la comunidad. Integrar proyectos de aprendizaje-servicio en los planes de estudios permite a los estudiantes aplicar sus conocimientos para abordar problemas de su entorno, desarrollando habilidades prácticas, conciencia social y un sentido profundo de responsabilidad cívica. Esta metodología prepara a los jóvenes para enfrentarse a los desafíos actuales, los empodera para ser agentes de cambio positivo en el mundo en el que vivimos. La Fundación Educativa Sofía Barat, que agrupa a 14 centros educativos del Sagrado Corazón en España, entre los que se encuentra el Colegio de Pamplona, en el que yo trabajo, compartimos un modelo pedagógico que llamamos Por Ti. Esta propuesta anima al personal educativo a dar a cada persona una formación integral que le ayude a crearse un criterio propio respecto al mundo y le dote de recursos para ser una persona competente, capaz de protagonizar los cambios que hagan cada vez un mundo más justo y más humano. La propuesta se compone de 7 líneas de fuerza, las que me quiero detener en la primera: educar para transformar. Con ella queremos que la persona, en su dimensión individual, social y trascendente, sea el centro de la educación. Queremos fomentar el pensamiento crítico y valores como la compasión, la relación y la transformación que trae consigo la ética del cuidado de la vida. Acompañamos al proceso de fe de las personas y los grupos comprometidos con la justicia, paz e integridad de la creación. Generamos procesos educativos para que los estudiantes sean conscientes de la realidad, reconozcan su dignidad, descubran sus capacidades, tomen sus decisiones y se guíen por los valores del Evangelio. ¿Y es posible llevar todos esos buenos principios a las aulas? La respuesta es sí. Y os lo voy a mostrar con ejemplos reales de proyectos de aprendizaje-servicio implementados en mi colegio en los últimos años. La nariz que hace sonreír. Niños y niñas de 5 años aprenden sobre el cuerpo humano y qué ocurre cuando enferma. Además, preparan una actuación vestidos de payasos para niños y niñas hospitalizados. Superinventoras. Niños y niñas de 8 años aprenden sobre mujeres inventoras y pioneras en diferentes campos, como el arte, la política o la ciencia. Además, reivindican la restauración de un mural cercano a nuestro colegio dedicado a estas mujeres que había sufrido ataques vandálicos. Jardines efímeros. Estudiantes de 14 años diseñan y construyen unos jardines dedicados al cambio climático en una zona deteriorada de nuestra ciudad. Lo hacen colaborando con otros centros educativos y las autoridades de la ciudad. 1000 horas para cambiar el mundo. 100 estudiantes de 16 años dedican entre todos más de 1000 horas de su tiempo durante un curso escolar, colaborando con diferentes asociaciones de la ciudad, dedicadas a atender a personas mayores, a personas con diferentes discapacidades, a migrantes, promueven una tienda de comercio justo, reparten alimentos entre familias vulnerables, etc., con el propósito de que su ciudad, Pamplona, sea más justa, más humana y más sostenible. Termino ya con esta imagen que cada día, cuando entro al colegio, le tengo el placer de verlo. Y en ella dice: vamos a hacer un mundo más justo porque es posible. ¿Acaso puede haber una tarea más apasionante y hermosa? Muchas gracias.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Jose Marie. Thank you for reminding us that as educators, we need to ensure that our students develop to the best of their abilities in order to respond to real needs and real problems. And thank you for using all these visual aids that helped us to follow the discussion even more closely. Thank you. Our second panelist, Adit Paul from India, will discuss the second question. Adit Paul is working as a teacher in English department at Sacred Heart Sophia Junior College in Mumbai, India. She completed her master's in English literature from Manipal Center for Humanities. She previously worked as a research assistant at the Sandbox Consultancy. She researched on relation between student academic achievements and stress in India education system. She has been a research fellow under the Excellence in Arts program at Sophia College for Women. She holds editorial experience having worked in industry at the commercial level. As an educator, He aims to explore the dynamic field of literature while remaining engaged with research and writing. Adit Paul, what are the critical changes and empowerment needed in the education sector to enable learners to successfully navigate their world and make meaningful participation in the social contract on education? The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, sister, for your kind words. I also thank Jose Marie for his really knowledgeable insights into the challenges faced by the field. The changes that we will attempt to discuss today are in direct response to these critical challenges that have been noted already. I would like to start by talking about how education needs to be seen from a bird's eye, not from a bird's eye view. So we do not only rely on curricula and educators, but we also rely on institutions. We also rely on those concerned with the governance of those institutions, such as our policymakers. So change will need to be implemented in 3 levels. The first is your classroom, where educators are your main actors. Then your institutions like your schools, preschools, universities, and associated. Then you have your educational system itself and your educational policymakers who will actually be able to bring about the changes that we are going to talk about. I will talk about changes in relation to the challenges. So the first area of focus would be the concern of equity and equality in education. While the UN states that primary and secondary education is a basic right awarded to all children, on the ground level, we are aware that educational opportunity is not provided to all everywhere, and equity in education is also something that is suffering. So we need to consider how it is that we are to ensure that there is equitable distribution of education to all. If we are to only look at education from the purpose of productivity, it leads us towards a singular mindset, which will allow for rapid expansion and growth, but it will not hold space for the civic and humanistic aims of schooling, which will then see our learners consequently suffer. The COVID-19 pandemic has also highlighted these concerns regarding equity and equality. Online schooling is now a reality of our times, and we cannot ignore it. So consequently, we need to also talk about issues that arise with online schooling, such as connectivity, access to the internet, good internet, technical devices, digital literacy, and the formation of learning platforms which will allow our learners to better themselves as the world changes at a pace that we cannot moderate. All of this is to say that equity and equality cannot ignore the means which will allow them to achieve their goals. When we talk about quality of education, that also will talk about equity in education. By quality of education, I mean we need to refer to teaching standards, we need to refer to teaching methodology, we need to refer to materials, curriculum, and curriculum coverage. This is to simply state that more schooling will not always mean better education. The next concern or crisis that I would like to draw our attention to is the crisis of relevance, which I think is our most urgent one yet. I will refer to the UNESCO report on reimagining our futures together. I'd like to quote just one line from there. That report states that education must redress past injustices while preparing us for environmental, technological, and social changes on the horizon. If we are to actually implement changes in this light, then we need to first have a conversation on what it would mean for environmental, technological, and social changes to be in terms of the generations that we call our future, and what kind of injustices require us to pay attention towards them. It is not, this is to basically say that we are not simply supposed to allow the generations of the future to voice their opinions, but it is also our responsibility to listen to them and not just hear them, give them a seat at the table and see whether in a collaboration with them, we can find answers to these pressing concerns. I'll bring a much more concrete example to the table. So the 2023 report on the SDGs makes a note of how global climate change education has a lot of youth demand, but that demand has not been met yet. And the report further states that there was an analysis done of about 100 countries, and when their curriculum frameworks were taken a look at, nearly half of them did not mention climate change. If we do not meet the needs of the hour, if we are not presenting our students and our learners with action-oriented education, we will not be able to address this crisis of relevance that we are facing currently. To achieve all of these lofty goals, we need financing. So education financing becomes a concern, and education financing does not only mean funds, but it also means budgeting. The 2023 SDG report states that in the past 2 decades, government spending on essential services like education has vastly increased. And while that is a good thing, the report also notes that the spending is higher in advanced economies as compared to emerging or developing economies. In contrast, the 2022 Transforming Education Summit report notes that when low-income countries or conflict-affected countries have called for technical or financial assistance with regards to Goal 4, which is quality education, very few countries have been able to step up and express commitment in ensuring that there is flow of aid for this matter. So when you're coupling something like underinvestment with learning losses, which we have seen and continue to see, we are setting ourselves up on a path where by 2030, we will have many out of school and many yet in school, yet unable to express the skills that is expected of them at their levels. When I say education financing, I also want to say that we should draw our attention towards accessibility and infrastructure. And infrastructure here would encompass whatever constitutes a safe education. So safe education as a definition needs to then be expanded. It cannot only mean inclusive, equitable, and gender responsive education. It should also include basic amenities like electricity, water, sanitation, seating facilities, disability adapted facilities, and digital infrastructure, all of which are simple responses to the conditions of the institute in the moment of its existence. To wrap it all up, I would just say that education is a holistic learning process, and we will learn throughout our lives. And as we are learning throughout our lives, we will learn to change. And as we change, we adapt, and then we grow, and then we learn what it means to live a meaningful life. So change can never occur in isolation. The elements that I have mentioned today are the tip of the iceberg. There are a few of the very many areas in which we can place our focus and emphasis on. And this is simply the beginning of the conversation. However, it is important at this moment itself to understand that this is not meant to be done alone, and that all countries will face consequences if our learners are not adequately prepared for the challenges that are awaiting them in the fast-paced world out there. So collaboration and cooperation become the need of the hour. And I believe that we can all contribute towards this effort of overhauling education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Adit, Paul, and more so for stressing that The education we offer needs to prepare young people for any changes they will encounter in their lives. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. We now come to our third panelist. Third panelist is Maki Saito. Maki Saito is from Japan and lives in the United States. She is a social business consultant. She is an investor. She is real estate agent, best-selling author, lecturer at the business school. She is a mother of one daughter and a change maker. She attributes the foundations for these endeavors to her education at the Sacred Heart schools in Japan and the United States, as well as her travels to different parts of the world. Maki, what would meaningful participation of young people in the social contract on education look like? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Margaret. Let me share a small slide that I created for today. Can you see this? Thank you, Margaret, for inviting me today. Thank you, Jose Marie, for your insight on educational challenges. It resonated deeply with me, especially the idea of bridging community and classroom. And Aditi's reminder of the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, UNESCO's call to reimagine our future together is powerful. What does it truly mean? How can we integrate these ambitions into education to create a shared contract that benefits everyone? Today, I would like to share 3 ways, inspired by the power of youth, that we can all be part of the solutions. My key elements are gift, social entrepreneur, and wallet power. 13 years ago, while living in Tokyo, Japan, I witnessed the devastating 9.0 earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear power plant explosions. Over 15,000 lives were lost. It was a dark time. But amidst the tragedy, extraordinary acts of kindness and support emerged. Musician Ryuichi Sakamoto saw the shattered instruments of students. He didn't just offer money. He mobilized manufacturers like Yamaha to repair them and organize an international music festival with a local high school orchestra. His gift of music became a beacon of hope, reminding us of the immense power within each of us. Imagine a classroom transforming into vibrant hubs where students collaborate on projects fueled by their passions. Engineers invent sustainable energy solutions. Writers fight discrimination through storytelling. And artists create beauty for all. Every gift used for the betterment of others create a ripple effect spread outward like a growing wave. But this potential often gets eclipsed by the current money-oriented economy. It thrives on competition, widening the gap, winners and losers. On the other hand, shifting our focus to gift economy based on trust, caring, and creativity will construct a society where everyone shares their gifts. That is more peaceful and prosperous. at Burning Man, a desert camping event with art exhibition in Nevada, US, that has over 80,000 participants from all around the world. I witnessed this spirit firsthand. Lawyers offered free consultations. Teachers read to children. A Christian group offered foot washes, and I, a gardening enthusiast, served pasta from homegrown tomatoes. In a world where chasing money is not emphasized, collaboration and generosity flourish. This is exactly what education should nurture, recognizing and utilizing individual gifts to create a society where everyone thrives. Let me tell you about my dear friend Angili, a Kenyan boy struggling with poverty and physical disability. He didn't have money to even own shoes, and he couldn't walk due to polio. But an Irish Sacred Heart sister who's a nurse saw a sparkle in his eyes, a sign of motivation and commitment to his effort. She ended up facilitating his rehabilitation and supported his dream of becoming a shoemaker. After attending vocational school, Angili, 10 years later, became a successful cobbler. I cried upon receiving his letter with the news. I was so proud of him. Angili is not just an entrepreneur. He's a social entrepreneur. His business woven with inclusivity and community. His story embodies the spirit of new social contract. We need an educational system that nurtures social entrepreneurs and students who see problems as opportunities and solutions as business for societal changes. Imagine a universities not just churning our graduates, but empowering young change makers who tackle climate change, bridge societal divides, and build sustainable communities. These are the waves that will truly reshape our future. The Sacred Heart schools, spanning 40 different countries and 200 schools across 5 continents, were founded by one sister, Sister Margaret Sophie, 200 years ago during the French Revolution. Her visionary goal was to create schools that nurture peacemakers. What does it mean to you? For me, a quote from my Japanese elementary school principal, "Small I, big you," has always stuck. It emphasized active listening and service to others. We participated this through volunteering. But witnessing the sisters in Kenya truly struck me. These sisters, who were doctors and nurses, drove for hours tending to villagers without expecting anything in return. True givers. The answer, I realized, lie in our wallet. Our money is a powerful tool expressing our beliefs and values, as it is like a ballot. Every purchase is a vote. We can choose companies that align with our ethics, like supporting fair trade products or avoiding those exploiting workers. When shopping for clothes, let's choose a company like Patagonia that use recycled plastic for fleece over a trendy name brand that spends huge money on advertising. Let's be conscious about using our wallet so that we can directly contribute to achieving UN's goal. Remember, your wallet is your voice. Each conscious choice every act of kindness, every dollar spent with intention adds another ripple to the growing wave. We can choose to invest in green energy over fossil fuels, support local community gardens, or organize fundraising events for social causes. Every action, however small, contributes to building a better future. The challenges we face may seem daunting, but we have the power to overcome them. By harnessing the power of youth, unleashing the tsunami of individual gifts, and embracing the tide of social entrepreneurship and conscious consumerism, we can reimagine education. We can build a world where small I, big U thrives, and create a future every ripple become a wave of positive change. Let's empower our youth to be more than students. Let's support their endeavors to be architects of a more just, sustainable, and joyous world. Let's ignite the spark in their eyes, unleash the symphony of their talents, and together ride the tsunami wave of change towards a brighter tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Maki, for drawing your life experience. All this has really made it very powerful. And I like the saying that we should build a world where small I, big U thrives, and creating a future where every ripple becomes a wave of positive change. Indeed, as educators, we are called to create positive change makers. Thank you. Our last question will be discussed by Rose Farah and Maria Casares. That is question 4. Rose Farah studied at the Sacred Heart School
Margaret, we lost you. Margaret, we lost you. I think your connection is low. Rose, are you the next one? Maybe
Maria is the next
Maria.
one.
Okay.
Yes. My name is Maria. I'm an alumni of the Sacred Heart.
Just. Okay. Please.
Perfect. Thank you. My name is Maria, and I'm an alumni of the Sacred Heart School in Mexico City. And right now I'm studying international relations. The question that Rose and I will discuss right now, it goes as, how is or has Sacred Heart Education with its values prepared the young people for successfully navigating our world?
School, 91st Street in New York, U.S. consultant at the Bridgespan in Ethiopia. How is
should I continue? Well, I'll continue. So I'm a university student, and I've come to appreciate the multifaceted role that the Sacred Heart education plays in preparing us young people for successfully navigating the world. In the education experience, as Aditi said, it goes beyond textbooks and exams. It encompasses a holistic approach that equips students with a diverse set of skills and perspectives that are essential to thrive the complexities of today's world. I will just share with you about 8 or 9 examples that I have learned through my Sacred Heart education that I am using in my university stage. First of all is critical thinking and analysis. Through the Sacred Heart education, it encourages us to cultivate a critical thinking and analytical skills that challenges and to question our assumptions and evaluate what we believe. The second one is research and information literacy. As we live in a world full of information, knowing how to vast a sea of information is very important for making informed decisions in this world. The third one is adaptability and resilience. University life is a dynamic environment mirroring the uncertainties of the world. And knowing how to adapt and be resilient with those changes is essential. The fourth question, set of skills that I have learned is the cultural awareness and diversity. Through different experiences that the Sacred Heart has given me, I have learned to appreciate and be passionate about different cultures and diversity, and learn to know how to work collaborative with people from different walks of life and appreciate the differences. I have also learned communication skills that are essential if we want to find common ground with others and find connection. And another set of skills that I have learned is the ethical decision making, which is very hard in a world that it's very politicized, and we sometimes forget the value of integrity. Another thing that Sacred Heart education has given me is network opportunities. Sacred Heart education provides a unique environment for networking with professors, alumni, fellow students, the society as a whole. And one of the best examples is this event. The global citizenship that I have learned and the importance of this in my Sacred Heart education has been one of the most important things for me. Through international programs, exchange opportunities, and global focus coursework, Sacred Heart education encourages a sense of global citizenship, not only as a belonging, but also a responsibility, understanding that we are not the center of the world, and that if we want to make a change, we cannot think as our nation-based point of view. We have to think as a global change. And the final thing I will speak about today is the spirituality that leads to action. It's not only a sense of spirituality that helps as a person, that guides decisions or makes it easier to thrive in an uncertain, in a world full of uncertainty, but it also helps us, this spirituality, to take action. And as Maki said, to find a way to give, and also Josemari said this about it, education that it captures to action. And I think that's one of the most important things that the Sacred Heart has given me. I will now give the space to Rose. She will speak from her young professional point of view.
Thank you so much, Maria. That certainly resonated based on my experience at Sacred Heart. It's really an honor to be here today and to see all of you. By way of introduction, my name is Rose Farah. I studied at Sacred Heart 91st Street in New York City for 14 years. And my life and my goals have been certainly shaped by the values of a Sacred Heart education. And so that's what I'd like to share with you today. I think while Maria did an excellent job kind of highlighting some of the skills that we've gained from Sacred Heart, would love to focus on kind of how the Sacred Heart values have shaped my own goals. And I think one thing I love about Sacred Heart is that we do have a shared set of goals. And as I reflect on them, it's goal 3 that perhaps has had the biggest influence on my life. Goal 3 states that schools of a Sacred Heart commit themselves to educate to a social awareness that impels action. It's a goal that manifested itself every day at Sacred Heart 91st Street. Whether we were hosting a fundraiser for our sister school in Uganda or delivering meals to older members of our community. Our Director of Community Outreach, Michael Chung, who's on this call, maybe he can give a quick wave, played a particularly important role in ensuring that this value, this goal 3, was not just, on a plaque on our wall, but something that we practiced every day. I was particularly grateful in upper school when my community mobilized on multiple occasions to fundraise for Jasur, which is an NGO focused on education and entrepreneurship for Syrian youth. Together, we mobilized our community to raise thousands of dollars, which was a clear example of Goal 3 coming to life, finding opportunities to use our education and our resources to contribute to the betterment of our community and the world around us. And once I left Sacred Heart, that value stuck with me. And I continued to find opportunities to find, ways that I could contribute, find careers that not only aligned with my skills and my interests, but careers that could allow me to have a sustained positive impact, which is a goal that was inspired by my Sacred Heart education. So I took courses in international law, in public policy, and economics. I pursued internships in journalism and impact investing, all with the goal of using my education and the privilege that I had to attend Sacred Heart to contribute to the betterment of the world around me. And that's not only my experience, but it's also an observation I've seen from my peers who graduated with me. Students who have gone on to work in city government in New York, others who have gone on to work advising companies on becoming more environmentally and socially friendly. I see it, manifesting itself every day, even as young professionals. In my own experience, when I graduated university, joined a social impact consulting firm called Bridgespan, where I had the opportunity to advise nonprofits, impact investors, and foundations. And I was grateful to be in a community there of people who shared that Sacred Heart value of, mobilizing to action. And it also manifests in my current role, which is focused on bringing investment to countries around the world that are underserved, focusing on countries in the Middle East. So to wrap up, I'd say that, building on what Maria shared, Sacred Heart has not only instilled in us wonderful skills, but it's instilled in us values and goals that guide our everyday actions and our decisions about the types of careers that we choose to pursue. So I'd say, to all the educators in the room to kind of remember that, every service day, every reflection on our goals really does translate when students graduate. And I'm incredibly grateful and privileged to have attended Sacred Heart and to have been shaped by those values. So with that, I will pass it back perhaps to Sister Margaret.
Hello? Sorry, I've been muted, but I want to thank Ross and also Maria for sharing their really life experiences in Sacred Heart schools. And indeed, you have been prepared for global citizenship. So we thank you for being ambassadors of the Sacred Heart. And for now, because of time, we are not going to have plenary session, but we shall have question and answer session. And we shall have 5 minutes for that. Then we'll have the synthesis. So Rachel, please guide us through the question and answer session.
Well, for the moment, there is no questions on the chat, but just feel free to raise your hands and ask your question to one of the panelists or all of them.
Okay, so if there are no questions, I would like to invite if there is
No,
any...
there are questions, Margaret, maybe from
Okay, go
Carla
ahead.
Reyes and after for Yolanda.
Hi everyone. I apologize for my voice because I'm sick right now. I'm happy to be here. First of all, thank you for having us here. It was amazing, the questions and the topics. I work for the U.S. Canada province as Young Adult Project Manager and Vocation Office Assistant. I work with Sister Reina, mainly in the Sacred Heart DNA program right now. And I know Maria from the Sacred Heart DNA program. Lovely to see you, Maria. And my question is basically how, listening to the last question, right, where Maria and Rose shared a bit about the values and the experience and characteristics that the Sacred Heart DNA education gave to them. I'm an outsider of the society. I didn't go to a school of the society. I didn't know the society before working here. I'm just wondering, how can we also share all of those benefits and values and everything that the society gives to them beyond Sacred Heart DNA alumni and people, and beyond the volunteering experience. You know, we work a lot with a lot of projects focused on that same topic, on sharing all of those experiences and benefits and values to other people outside of the society, like me, that didn't know about the society. And I just want to know your point of view on that topic, and how can we expand the charism of the society with other people that don't know about us beyond that volunteering experience.
You want to answer, maybe?
I think I can take this question.
Great.
Hi, Carla. It's so good to see you again. I think one of the best parts of the society's values is that it's not only for alumni. It's something we can share in, as Rose said, in our professional work, having our values well stood, and understanding that the global citizenship, taking our spirituality to action, are all of the things that we can do in our professional and our families and everywhere we go. I think that's one of the best things of the values of the Sacred Heart. And I think by making this world a little better that we have just encountered, and by sharing our commitment to social work and all of the goals that we have as an alumni, as a member of the society, but also as human beings, wanting just a place to call home. I believe that's the best way to share our values.
Thanks a lot, Maria. And maybe Yolanda, and after there is Renzo. And I guess, unfortunately, it will be time after, but we've got also on the chat a question from Alejandra Colunga. But Yolanda, your question, thanks.
Sí, hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Yolanda y trabajo en la Casa Madre en Roma. Mi pregunta va para José Mari. Hola, José Mari, nos hemos visto. Has dado algunos ejemplos de cómo respondéis a los retos en el Colegio de Navarra. Mi pregunta es, de lo que entiendo, los ejemplos van por nivel. ¿Han tenido oportunidad de afrontar estos retos mezclando los niveles y haciendo que la respuesta al reto sea algo comunitario a todos los niveles, desde primaria, infantil, con los de secundarios juntos, o siguen siendo actividades separadas por nivel? Gracias.
Hola, Yolanda. Mira, en el colegio llevamos 6 años impulsando este tipo de proyectos de aprendizaje-servicio. En esos 6 años hemos hecho proyectos muy variados y muy distintos. Y hemos intentado, eso que dice la UNESCO, ablandar los muros de nuestra escuela, abrirnos a la comunidad, abrirnos al barrio. Algunos proyectos que hacemos en el colegio son internos, es decir, los hacemos entre mayores y pequeños, pequeños y mayores, es decir, que son dentro del colegio. El primer proyecto de todos que impulsamos en el colegio se llamó, a ver si se puede traducir, Consumo Justo consumo justo con mucho gusto. No, consumo gusto, perdón. Consumo justo, consumo gusto. Y era una reflexión sobre los hábitos alimenticios en diferentes niveles. Y trabajamos sobre el comercio justo, trabajamos sobre personas sin hogar y personas y familias vulnerables de nuestro entorno. Y en él participaron todas las etapas educativas, todos los cursos del colegio. En otras ocasiones, los proyectos son de un curso, una clase, con una asociación, una entidad de nuestro barrio, de nuestro entorno, de nuestra ciudad, en un ámbito determinado. Es decir, los proyectos son muy ricos y muy variados. Hay proyectos cortos, hay proyectos largos, hay proyectos con una asociación, hay proyectos que colaboramos a la vez con 5 asociaciones, hay proyectos que hacemos con otros colegios, otros los hacemos nosotros solos. Es decir, que recogemos todas las iniciativas que podemos para intentar hacer proyectos educativos que transformen este mundo. No sé si te he respondido, Yolanda.
Gracias, José Mari. Sí.
Thanks a lot, José María. And maybe the last question to Renzo.
Sí, buenos días, ¿se me escucha?
Yes, very well.
Ok. Bueno, agradecer primero que todo a esta gran oportunidad que tenemos todos los formadores, formandos del Sagrado Corazón por dar testimonio de nuestra misión, ¿no? Y heredar esa espiritualidad de Magdalena Sofía. Más que una pregunta, un comentario, valoré mucho todas las exposiciones, los diálogos, pero me quedo también con el de Aditi Paul, que hablaba un poquito, me gustó mucho esto de trabajar con las nuevas generaciones para aprender de las injusticias del pasado, ¿no? Y lo proyecto en el sentido de que a veces se vuelven a cometer los mismos errores en nuestros países, en nuestras sociedades, en nuestro contexto, si es que no se evalúa la crisis del pasado. Y nosotros tenemos una gran fortaleza, un gran poder, que es formar a las generaciones que van a ser líderes de nuestras sociedades, de nuestros entornos. Y si no les ayudamos a ver esos errores del pasado, los van a volver a cometer. Y valoré también mucho el tema de cómo formando de esta manera podemos lograr, todos los expositores lo han dicho, el testimonio de las exalumnas creo que fue valioso, el tema de transformar el entorno, transformar la sociedad. Esa gran fortaleza y poder que tenemos de formar a las generaciones para transformar el entorno en el presente y en el futuro. Muchas gracias.
Thanks a lot, Renzo, for your comment. There is it's not a question, but Alexandra gave us on the chat an invitation to have a kind of session about artificial intelligence. So let's see. But maybe now I will give the voice to Noreen or Margaret.
Yes, we invite Noreen. Thank you very much, Rachel, for carrying us through that session of question and answer. And now, Noreen, please take the floor to give us a summary, a synthesis of the day. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Margaret, and good evening, everybody. I think everybody will have their own idea as to where this discussion began and where it led as we listened to these fantastic participants. And I'd like to thank each of them for their presentations, because from each we learned some significant things about ourselves in the Sacred Heart world and about the world that we live in. And I think I divide the session in two parts, really. I think Jose Marie had the difficult part of looking at the challenges, and it's almost like a depressing thing to have to do, to say, what are all the problems that we face? And he did it so eloquently, because he led us through the technological changes, globalization, and so on. But to link his opening part, where it was all about the challenges, when he shared the poster at the end where the students are walking into the school, and on their back it says, "Let's make a fairer world because it is possible." And to link that to what Rose said at the very end about taking her Sacred Heart education and not having it be just a plaque on the wall, that the goal isn't just something that's written up on the wall, but that she took it and lived that life. And that would seem to me to be the ultimate success of what we'd hope to do as educators. And all through our working lives with Sacred Heart schools and in Sacred Heart communities, we see opportunities to make a difference, and taking the challenges that we began the conversation with. And then when we had Aditi, and she talked about the, if you like, how to cope with those challenges on a bigger level. So it wasn't just within the schoolroom or in the school institution that we work, but societally and globally, how can we make the people who make the decisions listen to the voice? Who are the people who should be making the decisions? Giving a seat at the table to the people who have been ignored, who face all of the challenges and more that we can't even imagine. And her presentation, I think correctly, is described as being one where she's upping the challenge, demanding of us that we don't just keep doing the same old things the same old way, but that we look for new ways and make sure that our engagement is relevant. Because she did say education isn't just an economic value, it's a human value. So I think Jose Marie looked at the challenges, and then we had a reply in sorts where Aditi looked at what those bigger answers could be. And that was like the first part of our afternoon's work. And then in the second part, I suppose we got to the bit that brought us the joy, if you like, in that the answers are there in how people live their lives and how they bring that learning to make a difference. So Mackie had all these delightful things like the shoemakers and the shoe repairers, the instrument repairers, the social entrepreneurs, that idea of small I and big U. If our work and our planning and everything we did was about us as listeners, really listening and really then finding ways to care for the people that are the you, the people that we're reaching out to, that would be a wonderful success. She wanted us to make ripples into a wave, and she gave us some beautiful examples. And I think from all of the challenges and all of the courses of action, the changes that need to happen, whether they're very small ones or getting into the bigger, world justice issues, it starts somewhere. And if we don't start, then we can't get to any kind of finish line. I'm really feeling that the likes of Maria and Rose, I suppose, as sort of the younger generation, it gives us great hope. Maria has listed so many of the goals and so many of the ways that Sacred Heart educators reach out to students. We cannot but keep going. So I want to thank Margaret for the inspiration that led to this event. And I know she put in long hours of preparation, long hours of emailing everybody and keeping us all on track and making sure that we were listening to what she really wanted to achieve from today. I hope that she feels that there is now an audience that will help her in her amazing work. I know she had help from Rochelle and from Florence in Villalante, and well done, Florence, on keeping us all on track. Anna and Louisa for your interpretation, because that was such a vital part of today. And I suppose what I really want to say then is to the presenters, the ones who spoke, who took on the questions that Margaret asked and answered them so beautifully. So onwards and upwards, and let's make some more ripples. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Noreen, so much for your wrapping up and for the support to the team throughout the time of preparation. And so I also want to extend my thanks to all the participants, our Sacred Heart family, colleagues from the UN, colleagues from all over the world. Thank you for coming, for attending. It is very important to attend such like webinars to be able to get the knowledge, to discuss together and find solutions. So thank you for coming. And now I have an announcement. At the UN, usually we have a lot of forums, and many congregations, NGOs welcome their partners to come and attend. I would like to say those who are able to get into New York, it is good to know so that we prepare for you the ground passes so that you can be able to attend some of these important forums. So my email, as you have seen, I think it's on the chat, that you can write if you want to do so. We also have partners being prepared and trained for global advocacy. If you want to do so, let me please know. You can be trained by Justice Coalition of Religious, and then you can be able to attend these forums even online after you have been trained. So you are welcome. Those who have schools and they want to bring students to learn more about UN, I think 91st Street has done it, Greenwich has done it, Japan has been doing it. You are free to organize and let us know how we can connect you so that you can learn more about global citizenship, global justice, advocacy, and so on. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you for attending, and all who participated, and those who gave the talks. I'm so grateful. So thank you, and see you next year at such a time again for this kind of event, International Day of Education. Thank you, and bye.